Now, onto a bike I really, 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 really liked.
Wow.
Honestly.
Okay.
I just had a coffee, sorry.
Yeah.
That's probably why I got stuck on
very
loop.
excited about that one. I was going to hit you to move you on.
The Aprilia RS660, which wasn't really a 2023 bike, but quite frankly, they were very, very hard to get hold of.
Yes.
Number one, because I don't necessarily have such a good direct line to the press team there, although that's improved this year. But also, like, if I wanted to take one from a dealer, we work with Fowlers in Bristol. They stock Aprilias. They were just selling out. It was really hard to get hold of an Aprilia RS660. For anyone not familiar, it's a parallel twin sports bike. It's got all the looks of an RSV4 or something.
Sure.
But in a very tempting package that's like, I mean, I think the RRP is 10.5 grand, but you can always get a discount at an Aprilia dealer. They're always like 9.5 or 9 for a brand new one. This was from Superbike Factory at Donington. They had one in stock and I was like, yes, I've been waiting to get hold of one of these. This is going to be awesome. And so I borrowed that one. I think that was sub 9 grand and it had like a few thousand miles on it. What a phenomenal bike for that amount of money if you want a sports bike for the road. I think the crucial thing about this bike that makes it so good is that it isn't watered down in the way that a Ninja 650 is. It's not stripped back in terms of electronics. It's not placid in terms of the engine. It's a lively, fun engine. It's got, the cockpit feels like a racy sports bike. It's got all the settings and, it's got the pizzazz it needs as well, like the hardware, the braking, the suspension. It's not top level, but it's good. But
it's got enough trinkets to make you stop a little bit.
Yeah, so it feels like a proper sports bike. The riding position is, for me, probably the most comfortable sports bike I've ridden.
Because it's got the slight raise to the bars as well. They're kind of clip-ons, but not. Like it's got that kind of feel.
With like a Ninja 650, that has that as well, but the bum is far forward as well. And so I just felt like I couldn't get into it.
Okay.
You can't.
So that one you would lean slightly further back so you can hug in a bit tighter, is that what you're saying?
You can't. On the Ninja?
Oh, no, I mean on this one.
Oh, right.
So the seat, is it a little bit further back from the bars so you can lean down a little bit more? Is that what you're saying?
Whereas I felt like there was...
Is the Ninja your setup?
I don't know. There was just something that was right about it. And I think perhaps it's the ability to scooch your butt further back. The seat's higher as well, even though the bars are higher.
Yeah.
But it was like with the Ninja 650, the bars are up and back. So if you just want to sit and ride like a naked bike, you're upright.
Right.
If you want to tuck forward, then the bars become very close to you. And so then you're like, well, I'll move my bum back to make more room to get down. But there's a step in the seat, of course. And you can't get any further back. So you end up like tucked
visually,
in like
this
that.
is great. If there's ever a reason to watch the podcast rather than listen
on
to
YouTube
it,
rather than
have a little look at the position.
Whereas this bike, I don't know, it didn't feel like all my weight was on my wrist. It didn't feel uncomfortable. But then when you go a bit quicker, I didn't feel squashed either. They just nailed it. So
ergonomics are a big thing. Do you know what? And also, like, fascinatingly difficult. Yeah, good frame to stop on. That explains it. But there's no one size fits all. We're all different shapes and sizes. To make something that does fit
as many people as possible.
Is incredibly hard to do. So it's always impressive if they can do it.
The rider triangle, which is the relationship between the pegs, the bars, and the seat, makes a triangle. And the shape of that triangle gives you some idea of what it's going to be like to ride. So the gap between the bars and seat is obviously going to, and the height is going to relate to how upright you're sat or
I've
how
never seen this before.
Low and laid out you are. The gap between the seat and the pegs is going to give you an idea of leg room. I've never really thought that much about the relationship between the bars and the pegs. I kind of think you're mainly pivoting around the seat. That's pretty much the pivot point. But what they're showing here from the Aprilia press materials is that a super sport would be flatter and you would be more stretched out and low. A real sports touring bike, I don't think they have one in their lineup, but they're probably thinking of something like the Kawasaki Ninja 1000 SX or something, would be more sat up and canted back. And essentially what they've done with this bike is just made it halfway between the two.
I'd love to see the Africa Twin or like Surf and Adventure bike. It'd just be a rectangle.
It looks...
It's sat straight. Yeah. No, I've never seen that before. I like that. That does kind of explain it to me, especially the Super Sport. The line that obviously you would be taking with your body there is...
flat.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that. I mean, because you know how that feels, but to actually see it visually represented is quite interesting.
Thanks, mate. I mean, that was a pure coincidence that popped up on screen, but
perfect timing. But I get what you mean. I get what you're saying. I'd like to try it. It's a bike that I'm interested to,
I would
experience.
wholeheartedly recommend it.
I know, and I've heard that from a lot of people, which is why I'm
Just to sample it. I would say like it's so comfortable that the Tuono version, which has the flat bars, doesn't even seem that relevant to me because I'll be happy riding that and it looks better. But I still want to try the Tuono. Out of all the bikes that I rode last year, given that this was early doors as well, what are we talking here? Still in February. I haven't ridden many bikes that got me as excited as that, just because of the price and how much fun, and it's road specific and you can use a lot of that. It's about 100 horsepower. You can still use a lot of that.
Yeah.
And if I didn't have a constant rolling stock of press bikes, again, whip out your violins.
I've got them on standby for anything you say.
This would be up there with something I'd consider buying.
Yeah.
If I wanted...
I get that.
Something that was fun, looked cool. I mean, this is... I'm saying if I wanted something that... doesn't everybody want these things? Fun, looks cool, not crazy expensive, not crazy expensive to insure probably versus the V4 version.
Sure.
It ticks all the boxes for me. Loved it.
I have to say, same for me, and that's why I'm very interested, to try them.